A stranger in the bedroom. Today we're back for another creepy story, and this one is from John. This happened to him when he was a college student. Back then, John lives in a mid-sized city in Florida, in a duplex downtown just 3 blocks away from campus. The city is known to be pretty safe, and he lives in a pretty decent area with large, historic homes near his house. John gives a bit of a backstory to make sure we understand. He lives in a duplex with one front door, and then both the upstairs and downstairs units have their own locking door. He lives downstairs and has 2 roommates, but on this specific night, only one of his roommates is home. Upstairs live 2 girls, but they only really speak to them in passing. When they moved in, John and his roommates emphasized how important it is for them to keep the main front door locked, and so far the 2 girls have done a good job of doing so. So, John and his roommate are in for the night, knowing the front door is locked, and smoking a few joints. At some point, they hear a knock at the front door, and quickly realize the girls upstairs have ordered a pizza. They got their pizza, but they forgot to lock the front door after getting it. John and his roommate go to sleep in their own rooms, and since John has a queen bed, he often falls asleep with his phone and laptop next to him. A couple hours after he's fallen asleep, John wakes up. There's a man standing over his bed. As soon as John realizes he's not dreaming, he notices that guy in his room is quickly moving his phone and his computer off of his bed and moving his comforter, trying to get into John's bed. So John, as anybody would do, starts to ask him who the fuck he is and what the fuck is he doing here. He also says that he's in a bit of a blur, still slightly high from before he went to sleep. The only thing that the man says to him multiple times is, "I'm just trying to get into the bed." At this point, John begins to panic, and his mind obviously goes to the worst. He's hoping that maybe his roommate has invited some random Tinder guy over and that he has gone to the wrong room. But the more he questions the guy, the more he answers, "I'm just trying to get in bed." John then thinks of a pepper spray and the stun gun he owns, but that he accidentally left them on a shelf that the guy is standing in front of. He is scared that if he tries to grab them, the situation will escalate. Realizing he needs to do something quickly, he blurts, "There are 5 people who live in this house, and if you don't get the fuck out right now, I will scream and they will all be here within seconds." Luckily, that is all it took to scare the stranger off. John sees him grabbing something in the dark and running out of the room. As soon as he leaves the room, John shuts the door and locks it. He tries to reach for his phone but cannot find it anywhere. Then he realizes that between his room and the front door is the room of his friend that was home. As scared as he is for him, the idea that the stranger has got into a room terrifies him even more. So he grabs his stun gun and a pocket knife, counts to 3, rips his door open, and he runs into his roommate's room, only to find her fast asleep. He told her what happened, and she asked John if he is sure he wasn't dreaming. He starts to question himself until he walks out of his roommate's bedroom and sees that their front door is wide open. He goes back to his room to search for his phone and finally finds it hidden under a pile of clothes across the room from where he has left it. That sent a chill up his spine, as he immediately knows for a fact that someone has been in his house and room while he was sleeping, and long enough to hide his phone, which only worsens his suspicion of strangers' intention. He runs back into his roommate's room, who at this point believes him. They barricade themselves into the room and call 911. Within minutes, there are police cars swarming their street and yard and yelling for them to quickly leave the residence and run towards them. At least a dozen of police officers coming running in and searching every inch of their apartment. They wake up the girls upstairs and search their apartment too to ensure the man has left. The officers then has John writing a statement that he gives them a description of the man. And to this day, John says he's never heard a single thing about the case. 3 years later, John still feels incredibly lucky with the outcome of the situation, but the thought of the stranger's intention still terrified him. And additionally, the fact that he was never caught scares him. He thinks there is the chance that the stranger was on drugs or mentally ill and had no bad intentions. However, because he was never caught, we will never know. And John confesses he will always assume the worst. Thank you, John, for this story. It was damn good. And please, girls, when you go to get your pizza, lock the fucking front door. See you in another story.